Okay, so we're finding the volume of a cylinder. We're using the formula that's in red, that's highlighted in red. It's pi times r squared times h, right? Did you use that formula?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be pi, and you know how to write pi on your calculator, right?
Yeah.
And then r will be 3 because it says the radius is 3 centimeters. So 3 squared times h is the height, and the height is 10, right? And so you can just put this into your calculator, and you're going to get 90 pi, because 3 squared is 9 times 10 will give us 90 pi. Or you can just put everything into your calculator and you will get an answer of 282.74. And this is volume. Volume is always cubed, so it's in centimeters here. So we're going to say centimeters cubed. Even if it was in meters, it would be meters cubed. Right? Any questions?
No.
Okay. The next one is a sphere. A sphere has a radius of, let me use this. A sphere has a radius of 5 centimeters. Calculate its volume and leave your answer in terms of pi. So just like here, I left it as 90 pi. That's how you would leave your answer, right? But here it's for a sphere. It's the radius of a sphere. So I've highlighted the formula in green. So it's 4 divided by 3 times pi r squared. I'm going to write that again because it looks a bit messy. So it's V is equal to 4 over 3, so the fraction 4 over 3, times pi times r cubed. And I've drawn a picture of a little sphere here. Remember, the radius is from the center of the sphere to the circumference, and the outside of the circle is the circumference. And in this question, the radius is 5 centimeters. And don't forget to leave your answer in terms of pi, just like I did here. Okay, you can attempt that question and let me know when you're done.
Am I doing the second formula?
Sorry about that. Yes, you're doing the second formula and question number 2. I've highlighted the formula in green for the different shapes. I've color coded them. So for a sphere, the formula is the second one.
So is it 5 divided by 3?
4 divided by 3 times pi times r squared. I wrote it up here as well.
Okay.
So this is the formula for volume of a sphere.
Now, how do you write R? Like,
R is the radius, so R in this question is 5.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it 523.5, point 6?
Can you repeat your answer?
523.6.
So I asked you for the answer in terms of R. So when you pressed equal to on your
Okay.
calculator,
500 over 3 is 5.
yes, that is correct. So it's 500 over 3 pi. Right. The next one is a cuboid. So I was just trying to draw a cuboid. A cuboid will look something like this, right? So it's like a box basically, but it has rectangular sides to it, right? And it says the cuboid measures 8 centimeters times 5 centimeters times 2 centimeters. So the length will be 8. Then the width, which is from the side here, will be 5. And then the height, which will be from the top to the bottom, will be 2 centimeters, right? So it says find its volume. So you're going to use the formula for cuboid in blue. I have the formula in blue at the top. It's length times width times height. Remember, the bottom is the length, then the side is the width, and then from the top to the bottom is the height. So length is 8, width is 5, and height is 2. And you're just multiplying them together.
So what do I do? 8 times 5 or
8 times 5 times 2.
80?
Mm, yes, that is correct. Okay. So the next one is question 3. One more thing. What is your unit?
I don't know.
So it's going to be 80 centimeters because we're using centimeters here, and it's going to be cubed. Remember, I said for volume, it's always cubed. So it's centimeters cubed, right? Then for number 4, it says a cylinder has volume 200 pi centimeters cubed. So they're giving you the volume, and it says it has a height of 8 centimeters. Find the radius. So you're using the same formula in red here for a cylinder, and you've been given a height. And let me just erase the side so it's not so crowded. So we're focusing on the red, right? We're being given a height, and that height is 8 centimeters. We're not given the radius. So it says find the radius. So the radius is what we're finding, right? And we're being given the volume. So the volume is 200 pi. So we're given the volume and we're given the height. That means in this formula, you need to make the radius the subject of the formula and calculate that radius using the height and the volume. Can you attempt this question? And then if you need help, you can tell me and I'll help you with it.
I didn't understand, to be fair.
So you're given the volume. Okay, a cylinder has a volume of 200 pi centimeters cubed and a height of 8 centimeters. So you're given the volume, you're using this formula, right? Because it's for a cylinder. You're given the volume and you're given the height. The height is 8, and then the volume is 200 pi. So you can replace V with 200 pi and you replace H with 8. And you have to find the radius. So you have to make the radius basically r squared, the subject of the formula, and then find r. Remember when we did subject of the formula, it's basically just rearranging the equation. Do you want me to help you with this one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make R the subject of the formula, right? So when you want to make something the subject of the formula and it's being multiplied by something else, you simply divide by whatever is next to the thing you're trying to make the subject, and to get rid of what is next to it. So you're going to divide both sides by pi h to get rid of the pi and h. But whatever you do on the right hand side, you have to do on the left. So the side as well, you'll divide by pi and h, right? This is basically rearranging formula. That's what we're doing. So when you divide by pi and h, the pi will cancel out with the pi, and the h will cancel out with the h, and you'll be left with r squared. So let's write this equation again. It's going to be r squared is equal to v divided by pi times h. But remember, we don't want r squared, we want r, because we were told to find the radius. So we need to get rid of the square. So in math, the way you get rid of a square is you square root the number, right? So I'm going to square root both sides. And then the square root will cancel out with the square, and we'll be left with r is equal to, let me just go a bit down, r is equal to the square root of v divided by pi times h. And remember, h is 8 centimeters. So you can put this into your calculator. And v is 200 pi, sorry. So in your calculator, you're going to say, you're going to do the square root sign first, then use the fraction sign to put a fraction in the square root. Then you're going to say 200 pi for v, right? Then that's divided by pi. Remember, this is a fraction, so you use the fraction sign, you put in 200 pi divided by pi times, our h was 8. Let's just go back up. Remember, the cylinder had a height of 8 centimeters. And when you put that into your calculator, okay, put that into your calculator and tell me what you get. You're muted, by the way.
Oh no, okay.
Let me know when you have your answers.
Okay. 5.
That is correct. So your answer is 5. And what is your unit? What did I say the unit for volume is? Always centimeters?
Cubed.
Cubed, always cubed, right? Meters or centimeters cubed. Then we move on to number 5. Number 5 says a sphere has a volume of 288 pi centimeters cubed. Find its radius. So now we're talking about a sphere, and they've given it the volume. They want you to find the radius, right? That's the radius of a sphere. The length from the center to the circumference. That's the radius. So for a sphere, I said we use the formula in green. V is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So we're going to make r cubed the subject of the formula and then find r. And we have v, and we know pi is just the symbol on the calculator, and 4 over 3. So can you rearrange this formula to make r the subject and then find the radius? just like I did below, but you're doing it with a different formula. I think attempt the question and then just let me know when you're done.
Which one?
It's number 5. We're using the formula in green and we're finding the radius. So you rearranging the formula to make R the subject, and then
The
you
one at the top, the green one at the top. One.
the green one at the top, this one.
But like it says only A equals to pi
Yes.
R2.
So you've been given V in the question here. So
Oh,
V
that
will,
number 5. I thought
yeah.
you were saying about the number 5 and below.
No. We're using this one and that formula.
Okay. I'm stuck with this question.
Sorry, you were saying?
I'm stuck with this question.
Okay. So okay, I'm gonna go through the solution with you. Okay, so the formula we're using is V is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed, right? So remember what I told you, whenever we have a formula, we try and we're trying to make V cubed the subject, we need to get rid of whatever is next to it. So what you do is you will divide both sides by 4 over 3. Actually, you can multiply both sides. Let me just make it smaller so I can do this more easily. Okay. It's V is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. If you put on your calculator 4 over 3 times 3 over 4, you'll see you'll get the answer of 1. So you can multiply both sides by 4 by 3 over 4 to get rid of the 4 over 3. So let's do that. Here it's going to be 3 over 4. And then on the side as well, 3 over 4. And so you're going to get 3 over 4 V is equal to pi times r cubed. Right, and then you can divide both sides by pi to get rid of the pi. But I think this is the more complicated way to do it. Let's divide both sides by 4 over 3 pi. I think that would be easier, right? Yeah. So we're dividing by whatever is next to r to get rid of those so we can get r alone. So we're going to divide both sides by 4 over 3 pi.
So after you put the formula, you divide under it.
Yeah, you divide under it. On either side of the equal to sign, you divide by whatever is next to the variable that you're trying to find. And here we're trying to find r cubed. So we divide by 4 over 3 pi. And then when you do that, the reason you divide is to cancel them out. So 4 over 3 pi and 4 over 3 pi will cancel out, and pi will cancel out, right? And so you will be left with r cubed. And I'm just rewriting it to make r cube the subject. Then on the left, we have v divided by 4 over 3 pi. We'll just write that as is. V divided by 4 over 3 pi. Now remember, we have r cubed. We don't want r cubed. We want r alone because we're calculating the radius. So remember when it was, oopsie. Remember before when we had r squared? I said we square root it because the square root and the r squared cancel out and you get r alone. When you have r cubed, you cube root it so that the r cubed and the 3 cancel out and you'll get r alone. But it has an equal to sign in the middle, so whatever you do on the left, you must do on the right, right? So you'll cube the side as well, cube root. So you'll have r is equal to the cube root. Remember, these two will cancel out and you'll just have r alone. So r is equal to the cube root of v divided by 4 over 3 pi. Now we have our new formula. All we need to do is make v 288 pi. We'll substitute 288 pi in the place of v, and then we'll put that into our calculator and we'll find r. Can you do that for me?
$24.87.
Mm, okay, let me just double check my answer. I'm not getting the same thing. Are you sure you're putting it correctly into your calculator? Remember, it needs to be the cube root sign. So you'll see a sign like this with a little 3 on it.
Where? Which one?
So,
Because I put 3 before like the cube root
no,
thing.
no. The cube root sign will have a little box on it, and you'll put a 3 in there.
Hmm.
You should see a sign on your calculator that looks like that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
You want me to do it again or?
Yeah, do it again. Use the sign, then you'll use the fraction sign. You'll put the value for v at the top, which is 288 pi. Then you'll use the fraction sign again at the bottom of that fraction. You'll do 4 over 3. You'll use the arrow to the right, and you'll
Yeah,
do
yeah.
pi.
4.09.
Mm, I'm getting 6 centimeters cubed. So did you do 288 pi divided, cube root sign first, right? Then 288 pi divided
Is
by
it pi
4.
or because the V it doesn't have a pi next to it.
It does here. Look.
No, like in the bottom.
Here.
Yeah.
So your formula in your question, you're given volume in terms of pi.
Yeah, I didn't. That's probably because I didn't put pi after 288.
Okay.
I thought it was
So
just 288 because of the V.
okay, I'm not going to make you do it again for the sake of time, but you would use 288 pi, right? If you're given pi. Anyway, your final answer will be R is equal to 6 centimeters. And it's just centimeters because this is radius, this is not volume, right? That will be your final answer, but you can attempt this after the lesson again. Let's move on to rearranging formulas, right? Um, So the first one says make x the subject, y is equal to 3x plus 7. So I'm going to write that down for you. Y is equal to 3x plus 7. So we are trying to get this 3x alone to get x alone, right? So what we will do is we'll try to get rid of whatever is next to this x. So we have plus 7 here. If we want to get rid of the plus 7, we can subtract 7 on both sides, right? So here as well, we're going to minus 7. So when we minus 7, let me do it on the side of it so to save space. We will minus 7 on the side, and here as well we will minus 7, right? And remember the y is positive. So when we do that, 7 minus 7 is 0, so we're just left with 3x, and that is equal to y minus 7, or you can write it as minus 7 plus y. It doesn't make a difference, right? Then we try to get x alone because we want x, we don't want 3x. So because the 3x is basically 3 times x, right? So what we can do is we can divide by 3, and then the 3's will cancel out. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And when we do that, this 3 cancels out with this 3, and we have x alone. So our answer is x is equal to y minus 7 divided by 3. Any questions?
Um, I don't know, to be fair.
Can you try number 3, where you make A the subject of the formula because it's a similar question?
What A or E? What did you say?
A. Make A the subject. So the A next to the T, that needs to be the subject of the formula.
Okay. So do I do V times U times A or V times U times T or
It's V is equal to U plus A times T.
don't you want A to be the subject or
Yes, A needs to be the subject. So it's going to be, what did you say? V?
times U times T?
No.
So
Why
V
are we?
divided by U.
Mm, no, that's not going to work either. Okay, what was the first step that you took? What did you get rid of?
I didn't do anything yet.
Okay, so do you remember here? I said we're making x the subject of the formula. So we're going to get rid of whatever is next to the x. So here we're making A the subject. So we need to get rid of whatever is next to the A, right? So U is next to the A. So what can you do on the right hand side to get rid of the U?
I
See,
don't.
U is being added to A and T, so you can subtract the U, right?
Okay.
Just like here, I subtracted the 7 because we had a plus 7. Here, we'll subtract the u. So the first step is v is equal to u plus at. We're going to subtract u from both sides. And remember, the v is positive, right? Then when we do that, u minus u is basically 0. So we're left with at, and that is equal to v minus u, or u minus u plus v. It's the same thing. Now remember, here I said we were left with 3x here, right? And I said 3x is 3 times x. Here we're left with at, and at is the same as a times t. So what we can do is we can divide by t, because on the top we're timesing, so at the bottom you can divide to get rid of the t, right? So when we divide, the t and the t cancel out. Whenever something is being added, you can subtract to get rid of it. Whenever something is being multiplied, you can divide to get rid of it. When you're changing the subject or rearranging the formula, you use the opposite operation, right? So t and t cancel out and you're left with a. So a is equal to v minus u divided by t. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Then number 2, let's go to number 2. It says make h the subject, and the formula is v is equal to pi r squared h. Do you want to try that one?
So am I gonna do the same same thing you did with the one that says make A the subject.
No, this is like the one on the top where I said make R the subject. Remember when we were doing volume, we made R the subject? Okay, all you need to remember here is you're doing the opposite operations, right? So V is equal to pi times R squared times H. What is the opposite of multiplication?
When dividing.
Dividing. So remember, we're making H the subject of the formula, so we can divide both sides by pi and R squared. So let's do that. Pi times R squared here, and then this side as well, pi times R squared. And when we do that, the pi cancels out with the pi, and the R squared cancels out with the R squared, and you are left with H. So H is equal to V divided by pi R squared. Do you get it now?
Oh. Yeah.
Let's do number 5 because it's similar. Make R the subject of the formula, and we have A is equal to pi times R squared.
So where are the numbers like?
This is formulas. So
Okay,
you're
so you
changing
just
the
write
sign.
out the formula.
Yeah, you just write out the formula and then you figure out what you're doing. So pi and R squared is being multiplied. So what are you going to do to make R the subject?
R or okay.
R. R.
So why did you write A equals? Isn't it supposed to be R or
This is the original formula. We write that first and then we do something to either side to make R squared the subject.
A divided by I?
Right. We can divide both sides by pi, right? So that's the first step. Dividing both sides by pi. And then the pi and the pi cancel out. And then you're left with R squared is equal to A divided by pi. But remember, we're not making R squared the subject. We need to get R alone because it said make R the subject. Do you remember what we do when we have something squared?
Um, no, square root.
Yes, we square root it like I did on the top here. So whenever something is squared, we square root it, and the square root and the square will cancel out with each other. So we're going to square root both sides. And then we have our formula. So our formula will be, remember, the square root will cancel out with the square, and we'll get R alone, and R will be equal to pi, square root A over pi. And that is your final answer. Right? Any questions? Okay. Now let's go to number 4, which is one that is a bit different. I'm going to help you out with this one. Let me just erase all of this. Okay, so number 5 is make x the subject of y is equal to 5x minus 2 divided by 3. So let's write that. Y is equal to 5x minus 2 divided by 3. Remember, we're trying to make x the subject of the formula. So we need to get x alone. So what we can do is we can multiply both sides by 3 to get rid of the 3, because this is basically like 1 over 3, right? That's what dividing something by 3 means. And if you say 1 over 3 times 3, the 3 and the 3 cancel out, and you're left with 1. So that's why we're multiplying by 3, because we want to be left with 5x minus 2. So the 3 and the 3 will cancel out. Remember, whatever you do on the right, you have to do on the left, because we have an equal to sign in the middle. So here as well, we're going to multiply by 3, and we will be left with 3y is equal to 5x minus 2. Remember, we're still trying to make x the subject, okay? So what do you think we do now?
I don't know.
We're trying to make x the subject, so we need to get 5x alone first. So we
So
have
you do
minus
5x
2.
5x divided by 5x?
No, no. We have minus 2 here, right? We get rid of the minus 2 first.
Sorry, what do you do? Divided by minus 2?
You plus 2. Because minus 2 plus 2 will give us 0. So we can get rid of the minus 2 and we'll have 5x alone. Then you can divide by 5 and you'll get x alone. So we're going to plus 2 on both sides. If you put minus 2 plus 2 on your calculator, you'll get 0. So that's how we get rid of the minus 2. Here as well, we're going to minus 2. So let's just write minus 2 plus 3y, because 3y is positive. So minus 2 plus 2 is 0. We're left with 5x on the right. Remember, we're making x the subject, right? So that's why we want to get 5x alone. Then on the left, it's 3y minus 2, or minus 2 plus 3y. It's the same thing, right? I just like to write all positives first. I think it looks neater. Then here we have 5x. Remember, we're trying to get the x alone. 5x is basically 5 times x. So we do the opposite, we divide. We divide both sides by 5. And when we do that, the 5 and the 5 cancel out, and we're left with x is equal to 3y minus 2 divided by 5. Any questions?
No.
Okay, so you understood. Sorry, this isn't supposed to be minus 2. This is supposed to be plus 2, because we plus 2 on this side, so we have to plus 2 on that side. So just one correction there. So I was saying, the point is whatever you do on one side, you do on the other side, and the main goal here was to make x the subject of the formula. So we got rid of whatever was next to the x. Here we're minusing 2 in the formula, so we plus 2. Then we're multiplying x by 5 in the formula, so we divide by 5. And whatever you do on the right, you do on the left. And then you've changed the subject. Also, whenever you have a fraction and you want to get whatever is on top of the fraction, you want to make that the formula, you multiply by whatever is at the bottom to get rid of that. And then you solve. Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, I think this was a bit of a complex one, but it was a good example because it had most of the steps that you will use when you are rearranging the formula. And then the other one to remember is when you have anything squared and you want to get rid of the square, you just square root and those cancel out and you will get the variable you're looking for. If something is raised to the power of 3 or even to the power of 4, you have that little button in your calculator, that root sign with the box. You will just put a 4 here and you will fourth root it. It will cancel out. And so you will be left with that variable. And whatever you do on the left, you'll do on the right. So whatever formula you have here, whether it's a fraction or just a number, you will also fourth root it using your calculator, and it will give you your answer for R, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand the so far, which is the important one for volume, and then rearranging the formula. I think we're good there. I'm going to give you some examples on rearranging the formula to work through, because with rearranging the formula, as you do more examples, you get better at it because you need to practice the method, right? Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so in our next lesson, we will continue with graphs and simultaneous equations. I will
And
send
I
you
think if we can like go over this like a bit more, it would be better.
rearranging the formula.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that in our next lesson. And I'll also send you this video so that you can go through it again. Also, go through the questions where it was question 4 and 5, where we found the radius, because in those questions, I showed you how to make r squared and r cubed the subject. So
Yeah.
those ones were
Yeah.
important too. These questions 4 and 5 is an incorporation of volume and rearranging the formula. So it's like two sections in one question, right? So those will be very helpful. Okay, so I'm gonna end the lesson here.